King James, the translator of the King James Version Bible, is and was a Freemason. Yeah, that's right. King James was a Freemason. What you are looking at right here, and I just want to give a moment for people to have an opportunity to log on to this podcast. I think this is very important, and we're doing this live. So what you are looking at here is literally the information about when King James the Sixth, the translator of the Holy Bible, I don't even know if we should call it that, but we'll call it the Holy Bible. Kind of reminds me of how the Department of Defense is called the Department of Defense, yet they're far from defense a lot of the times. I'm just saying. I'm saying they're bad, I'm just saying. But you've got King James, literally. Now, I've got this all the way down to where the lodge was, that he became a Freemason, and images of the lodge. And this is directly from the lodge website itself. Talks about how King James became a Freemason and the year. It also talks about the obligation or the contract, the mutual agreement in 1658 of King James. That's quite interesting. And people at that lodge still use a specific part of that prayer at the end of their ceremonies. From what I've read, not all their, I don't know if it's all their ceremonies, but some of them. But let me give you a rundown on what we're going to be discussing here today. So, first thing we're going to talk about is the connections of King James being a Freemason. So, first of all, the reason I'm doing this, I don't care if you're a Freemason, I don't care if you're a part of any mystery school or secret society. Right on, have fun, gain knowledge, that's awesome. It's what's in your heart that's important. And the media, especially the mainstream media, these 6 organizations that control the majority of the media, over 90%, they do such a good job of labeling certain organizations or schools of mystery as being the root of all evil. Now, with that said, are there bad apples? Hey, there's bad apples in every field of growth that I'm aware of. Maybe not every field, but most fields of growth. There's certainly bad apples out there, so maybe not every field. Let me just kind of break this down for you. If you are somebody that believes in the Bible, and the only one you read is the King James Bible, I think we're having issues here with the live stream. Are we getting issues with the live stream here, guys? It's saying we're having some issues here. Okay, let me see if I can get better Wi-Fi. All right, let's try this again. It looks like the Skype gremlins, not even Skype, I'm not using Skype. The gremlins out there on the internet got me. It must be King James' spirit. He came back on the internet and said, quit talking about how I'm a Freemason. I don't want you telling people that. So once again, I don't care if you're a Freemason. I don't care if you're a part of a mystery school or secret society. Have fun with it. Enjoy it. It's really who you are as a person. The reason I'm doing this podcast and explaining that King James was a Freemason is because a lot of people are under the impression that all truth is in the King James translation of the Bible. And they don't even realize that the Bible oftentimes is a compilation of multiple texts and scriptures that have been retranslated and copied and pasted, essentially, is what it comes down to. So I'm going to show you, for those that say all Freemasons are evil and all you do is believe everything out of the King James Bible, well, the joke's kind of on you, because King James was and is a Freemason. You can actually look right here. This is directly from the Grand Lodge of British Columbia. And I'll tell you a little bit of King James' story here. King of Scotland, he was King of Scotland from 1567 to 1625. Then he became the King of England, 1603 to 1625. Now, what happened here at the specific lodge, it's called the Lodge Scone in Perth. I actually looked this up. I'll show you it on the map here in a minute. It's in Scotland, and Scotland's awesome. I mean, I have heritage, I have roots from Scotland, beautiful countryside. And on the west wall of the lodge, on the west wall of the lodge hall used by Lodge Scone or Scone and Perth number 3 in Perth, Scotland, can be found a mural depicting James, King James VI, kneeling at their altar at his initiation. Now, this is the oldest existing record of the lodge. It's called the Mutual Agreement of December 24th in 1658, and it actually records that James was entered as a Freemason and fellowcraft of the Lodge of Scone, or maybe Scone, on April 15th. April 15th, another powerful date. So you've got Christmas Eve. Isn't it interesting how they put together Jesus' birthday in the New Testament as December 25th, and they have his rite ceremony December 24th? Very interesting. And then April 15th, that's another very, hate to say it, it's a pagan ritual day. Doesn't mean it's a bad thing. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that's what it's connected to. I think we're having issues on the internet again, too, because I'm looking at the live stream and it's showing yellow. So if you guys are still here with me, yeah, okay, if you guys are still here with me, let's go back to how James, King James, was appointed by William Shaw as Master of the Work and Warden General in 1583, with the commission of reorganizing the Masonic craft in 1598. Shaw issued the first of his statutes, setting out the duties of Masons to their lodge and the public, imposing penalties and unsatisfactory work and inadequate safety practices. Shaw drew up a second statute in 1599, wherein the first veiled reference of the existence of esoteric knowledge within the craft of stone masonry can be found. So, now, what is the contract or mutual agreement of 1658? Once again, you can read about this at the Grand Lodge of British Columbia. The contract or mutual agreement of December 24th, 1658, claimed that on April 15th, 1601, James was initiated by his own Royal Master Mason, John Milne II, and that's noting on page 45, and his son, John Milne, being, after his father's decrees, after his father's decease, it's Old English here, preferred to the said office, and Mr. the said lodge in the reign of His Majesty King James VI of blessed memory, who by the said second John Malign was, be the king's own desire, entered the Mason brotherhood and fellow craft, and during all his lifetime, he maintained the same as the member of the lodge of Scone. So it is Scone. Okay. So Edward Macbean claims that the initiation of James VI, King of Scotland. Now then, we'll get here. Here's a picture of the lodge. If you want to see the location of the lodge in Scotland, it's right here. And then this is another interesting website. I'll leave the links to all this in the video description box. So this guy's saying that in this right here, which King James put together, he says that he thinks that's the head of Baphomet right there, the goat head. Whether or not that's Baphomet, it doesn't really mean it's evil per se. I mean, because Baphomet isn't evil. Baphomet represents evil and good, alpha and, it's the yin and the yang with Baphomet. Baphomet, it represents virtually everything kind of merging together. It's like representing the dualistic universe. I see that more as being the earthly desires right there, because usually the horns represent the earthly desires, at least in occult mysticism and such, and hermetics. Now, if you look at this, you can also see what looks like the snakes or the dragons here on each side, and then you got a couple chipmunks. That means they're preparing for storage. They're getting ready. Now, this picture right here, it's not pulling up. Dang it. Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay. This is pulled up. This is a picture directly from the lodge in Scotland. You can see it right here. And this is, obviously you've got the dualistic floorboard, the black and the white, meaning alpha, omega, as above, so below, right, wrong, yin, yang, opposites, etc. Then what I think is very interesting, though, is that mural behind him. You can see somebody's kneeling. You see that? And then you can also see the six-pointed star. And then you can see people in the background there. But is that representation of King James kneeling down before God, before Ra, before the sun, the sun of our solar system, the solstice? What is that? I mean, it looks like there's these almost like ghostly looking dudes in the background, like deathly looking Archons, I guess you could almost call them, like the black brotherhood you can see there that are talked about in the Emerald Tablets and such. So that's a very fascinating image right there, and there is a lot of symbolism. You can also see right above it, you can see the Anunnaki wings, the Sumerian wings, and those are seen throughout Egypt and Sumeria, and those go way back, even before Imhotep, 6,000 years ago. Now, this is Perth right here. This is Google Maps, and I wasn't necessarily able to find I don't know if this is where the location is at or not, but that's the best I was able to come up with. Now I want to jump into, this is where it's going to start getting fun, folks. What you're looking at right here is the pine cone in the Vatican, or at the Vatican. And not only does the courtyard have something that represents the sun, big time, but it also has the cult of Saturn representation, the incubement of organic matter, of organic biology, like the domination of it is kind of what I get from it. Here is the staff of Osiris, the DNAs, the DNA serpent, the dual helix DNA, and then the pine cone, meaning the pineal gland. What this represents, when you see these Sumerian pieces of art and ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics, cave petroglyphs, incredible pieces of art of antiquity of Egypt and Greek mythos, when you see the pine cone, that represents the pineal gland. When you see the snakes, that represents the DNA. Now that, I'm telling you, I just connected another dot here. The DNA that we currently have and our pineal gland that we currently have, what if the Anunnaki gave us that, and that's what all of these images depict? Or maybe they manipulated it. And what's up with the bucket that they're always carrying around? You know that bucket they're carrying around? It's like the power pack, the Anunnaki power pack. Maybe that represents the clay that they used to make people and to make beings. Like here it is again. You can see Enlil. Enlil's giving the pine cone, the pineal gland. And maybe our entire history has been rewritten. Maybe some time travelers went back in history and changed up the timelines and manipulated everything so we would follow this instead of the right path. Maybe the Mandela effect changed it somehow, or maybe it was just very intelligent people thousands of years ago that were, because of their DNA and lineage and be able to make it through certain catastrophes before that, they were further evolved than us and they came from this planet. That's definitely possible because we've connected recently Nibiru and information of Nibiru in these Oxford texts to a city or cities in North America, Northeast North America. And that was done by people that are very intelligent here on Leak Project, which I would also like to give a huge shout out to Living Waters, Sheena Living Waters. She's the one that actually pointed out that King James is and was a Freemason, and she sent me some links, so I did some more research into it, and now I'm able to share that with you guys. I think that's very powerful. Just for those that say, hey man, the King James Version Bible is the only true Bible, it's the only true Word of God, and Freemasons are evil. Well, that's kind of contradicting. It's actually 100% contradicting right there. So look at this. And what about the bird people, the Ajiji? So you've got the Ajiji, the bird people, the reptilian people, and the humanoid-looking people. And then you've got the mixtures. Well, here's another pine cone. And then look at that. They've got the Rolex watch. That's not a Rolex. That's actually like my MTM radiation watch. It's got a few extra magical powers there, and where they can actually manipulate life and add some DNA and stuff like that. And boom! There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that creature. Isn't he cute? So look at this dude. Once again, he's got the power pack, the Anunnaki bucket, the clay of life with the pineal gland, and that real fancy watch right there. And he's got wings, too. That's pretty cool. What happened to these dudes? Where are they? I want to meet them. And then I think this is Gilgamesh. Once again, Gilgamesh got the power pack, lunchbox, Anunnaki lunchbox. You thought the Star Wars lunchbox was cool in the day. How would you like to have one of those things, huh? That's what I'm talking about. And the pineal gland and the pine cone. So, boom, look at this. The eye of Horus, the evil all-seeing eye. You know how many people tell me they think I'm an Illuminati shapeshifter and I'm evil because there's an eye in the Leak Project logo? Well, first of all, why you got to give all the credit to Horus why you got to give all the credit to something bad? I mean, you've got two eyes. Does that mean you have two evil devils right inside your brain right now that are like fighting each other, jousting? You will not assimilate me. No, it's not the eye of Horus. Here, this right here What if the eye of Horus, the reason the eye of Horus, the all-seeing eye, can see everything everybody does, and it's above the pyramid, it's above all, and it's always watching because it's in your freaking head. Hello. Makes scientific sense to me. Just saying. Did they put it there? Or did they manipulate it? Or was it always there? What did it look like before? Did it have two eyes and they took one out and split man and woman? Well, thank goodness for that. Hello. So, now here's another connection. You guys are going to like this. I'm on a roll here. The Anunnaki, the dynasty of Anu. Did they come from the Pleiades? The 7-star cluster, the 7 sisters. So many stories in Sumerian texts. I read about these, the 7 levels of protection, the 7 layers of the underworld, of the netherworld, the 7 hierarchies, and the 7 chakras. Is this all linking back to the Pleiades? And did the Anunnaki, Nibiru, did this come from the Pleiades? And is Nibiru even physical, or is it more of like an interdimensional area, or is it just a city? There's definitely a Nibiru on planet Earth in North America that we have discovered. Is that the only Nibiru, or is that like the outpost, as some people have said? The 7 sisters, I think this is incredible. It talks about how they're the brightest stars in the sky a lot of the times, and then you can get into, I want to talk about the cult of Saturn. We'll get to that in a minute. Let's go back to the 7 sisters and the Pleiades. There are so many different texts that I've read through these Sumerian scribes that seem to mimic stories and plays and theater. And I also think that they would take something that actually happened and put it in there in a theater aspect. And if somebody was very strong, then they would say, okay, well, we're going to represent him as that star in heaven because that star in heaven is strong. And I still wonder if the stars at that level, if they can project themselves in a consciousness level into a being form to live so below. As above, so below. The cosmic realms, the earthly realms. And then there's the nether realms. You know, there's these different levels of consciousness, and we are all energy connected to this. So we're all having an opportunity to experience different fragments, or maybe at that time we want to experience it all at the same time. And that's very frightening if you get anywhere close to that. You better be ready for it. So, the Pleiades. Is this where life as we know it originated? Or is this where the engineers, the Anunnaki, came from? This is, I'll tell you, I'll let you know from all the information that I've compiled, I'm pretty certain this is where either they think they came from, or where they came from, or where these ancient teachers feel that our DNA came from based upon stardust, because we are all stars, literally, if you look at it at that point. So now I want to get into the possible overthrowing of some of these demigods, some of these Anunnaki, some of these powerful beings via Serpent Archons, which now has made up what I like to call the cult of Saturn. And this is a great website. I definitely recommend going to it. It's Nicholson1968.com. This guy has some of the best information that I have seen on the cult of Saturn. He's definitely put a lot of information together on this. And you can see that in different areas, like Santa Ana, Manhattan, Australia, Denmark, they've got these black cubes. The Borg cube, the Hellraiser cube that takes you into hell. The cube, even if you read about the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, in my opinion, represents a finite life source. Something that isn't infinite, something that is broken off of organic source itself and is doing its best to stay alive and create its own form and function by usurping up people and organic matter and source and energy and everything into its like battery pack to keep it alive. And so it's letting us take ourselves down in the global scale if you look at the world as a whole and how much it's being attacked right now in these multi-corporations by manipulating us through technologies and the media and mind control tactics and just the entire system of it being based on finite energy sources, finite monies that are based on like the petroleum dollar, etc., the war machine, these systems that don't really work, that are broken. It's all a part of this cult of Saturn construct, in my opinion. These Serpent Archons, these entities that literally feed off of the host, like these parasites that you see will take advantage of their host in South America on a grasshopper, get in its brain, then the grasshopper will go to a key location, and it will die, and then that fungus, because it's a perfect location for the fungus to grow out of its head. I mean, it's the same concept, just at a different vibrational level. So I would really look into the cult of Saturn here, because there's a lot to this, and I'm going to keep digging on the cult of Saturn. I mean, like, even if you look at what some of the religious people do, what they wear on their heads and stuff like that, I wonder if this could connect to the cult of Saturn. Of course, they wouldn't know it, because this is something that is so old and so ancient, and I could be wrong. I mean, because I know that I've talked to people that are Jewish, that are amazing people, very good people, and they do practice that wearing of the cube on their head, and it means something completely different to them. So I'm open for suggestions. I'm looking for answers just like everybody else. I think that we've done enough research, though, to say that there's something not right in Kansas anymore. Toto. There's something definitely not right. And I want to go over to Crystal Links for a minute, crystallinks.com. She's got a great website. And this is tablet number 8 of Thoth. I want to read this to you. It talks about these Archons, I think these beings that have taken over the control of the global forces. Far in the past, before Atlantis existed, men there were who delved into darkness, using dark magic, calling up beings from the great deep below us. Forth came they into the cycle. Formless were they of another vibration, existing unseen by the children of earthmen. Only through blood could they have formed being. Only through man could they live in the world. In ages past were they conquered by masters, driven below to the place whence they came. But some there who remained, hidden in spaces and plains unknown to man. Lived they in Atlantis' shadows, but at times they appeared among men. When the blood was offered, for they came, they to dwell among men. In the form of man, they amongst us, but only to sight were they as our men. Serpent-headed, when the glamour was lifted, but appearing to man as men among men, crept they into the councils, taking forms that were like unto men, slain by their arts, the chiefs of the kingdoms, taking their form and ruling over man. Only by magic could they be discovered, only by sound could their faces be seen. Sought they from the kingdom of shadows to destroy man and rule in his place. So let's go over that one more time. Sought they from the kingdom of shadows to destroy man and rule in his place. Right there. Yet beware, the serpent still liveth in a place that is open at times to the world unseen. They walk among thee in places where the rites have been said. Again, as time passes onward, shall they take the semblance of men. Called may they be by the master who knows the white or the black, but only the white master may control and bind them while in the flesh. Seek not the kingdom of shadows, for evil will surely appear. For only the masters of brightness shall conquer the shadow of fear. Now, it makes me think of wars, blood rituals, abortion clinics that will take an aborted baby and then use it for vaccines to inject into newborn babies, combined with different chemicals and mixtures of other animal cells. It's just disgusting. It's disgusting, and it's right there in your face. Every single day, it's right there in your face. And they're above the law. And you know why they're above the law? Because they love us so much. They love us so much. Oh, welcome to the new world order, ladies and gentlemen, where you are paying to be a slave and a host to a parasitic system that is feeding off of your demise and profiting immensely because of it. Think about that for a minute. Think about these institutions and organizations that make trillions off of you and others. I mean, it's unbelievable. And you know what? The answer is right there. I just read it to you. It's right there. It's right there. Be gone, man. Get out of here, you serpents. You archonic parasites. We don't need you. I'm going to leave it at that. So, thank you for being here with me. I don't know how the internet was. It looks like we've had a little bit of opportunities here. And I think we're going to close it out tonight. So, question everything. Make sure to support our sponsors. GetTheT.com. I had Ronnie on the show earlier today. This guy is very knowledgeable, and his products that he has put together for health, good quality health, it's definitely worth at least looking at his site, GetTheT.com. Also check out the Quick Bibby link. I'll leave the link in the video description box. And if you haven't become a premium member yet at Leak Project, what are you waiting for? It's $10 a month. That's like 3 energy drinks. That's like 2 6-packs of soda, if you even drink soda. I don't drink soda unless it's like organic. Anyway, nanu, shapeshifter. Be the change you want to see and be excellent to each other. Thank you for being here with me. Sorry about the technical issues. King James, the translator of the King James Version Bible, is and was a Freemason. Yeah, that's right. King James was a Freemason. What you are looking at right here, and I just want to give a moment for people to have an opportunity to log on to this podcast. I think this is very important, and we're doing this live. So what you are looking at here is literally the information about when King James the Sixth, the translator of the Holy Bible, I don't even know if we should call it that, but we'll call it the Holy Bible. Kind of reminds me of how the Department of Defense is called the Department of Defense, yet they're far from defense a lot of the times. I'm just saying. I'm saying they're bad, I'm just saying. But you've got King James, literally. Now, I've got this all the way down to where the lodge was, that he became a Freemason, and images of the lodge. And this is directly from the lodge website itself. Talks about how King James became a Freemason and the year. It also talks about the obligation or the contract, the mutual agreement in 1658 of King James. That's quite interesting. And people at that lodge still use a specific part of that prayer at the end of their ceremonies, from what I've read. Not all their, I don't know if it's all their ceremonies, but some of them. But let me give you a rundown on what we're going to be discussing here today. So, first thing we're going to talk about is the connections of King James being a Freemason. So, first of all, the reason I'm doing this, I don't care if you're a Freemason, I don't care if you're a part of any mystery school or secret society. Right on, have fun, gain knowledge, that's awesome. It's what's in your heart that's important. And the media, especially the mainstream media, these 6 organizations that control the majority of the media, over 90%, they do such a good job of labeling certain organizations or schools of mystery as being the root of all evil. Now, with that said, are there bad apples? Hey, there's bad apples in every field of growth that I'm aware of. Maybe not every field, but most fields of growth. There's certainly bad apples out there, so maybe not every field. Let me just kind of break this down for you. If you are somebody that believes in the Bible, and the only one you read is the King James Bible, I think we're having issues here with the live stream. Are we getting issues with the live stream here, guys? It's saying we're having some issues here. Okay, let me see if I can get better Wi-Fi. All right, let's try this again. It looks like the Skype gremlins, not even Skype, I'm not using Skype. The gremlins out there on the internet got me. It must be King James' spirit. He came back on the internet and said, quit talking about how I'm a Freemason. I don't want you telling people that. So once again, I don't care if you're a Freemason. I don't care if you're a part of a mystery school or secret society. Have fun with it. Enjoy it. It's really who you are as a person. The reason I'm doing this podcast and explaining that King James was a Freemason